My name's John McCormack. I'm a General Manager at EMIS. I look after the Partners division there. I'm here with my colleague Alex Evis, who is the Chief Executive of Dovetail Labs, which is a business that we acquired about a year ago now. My objective for the next 12 minutes really is to talk you through a little bit about EMIS Group and what we do. People tend to know a bit about EMIS, typically in the UK healthcare market, but tend not to know an awful lot about everything that we do, so perhaps shine a bit of a light on that. Talk about our partner program and what that offers and why that's increasingly important for ourselves and our business, but also for the UK healthcare economy. And then just share a little bit of information about some of the things that we're doing that are new. And at the end, I'll invite Alex up to talk about Dovetail and what they're doing. How many people in the room, just quick show of hands, have heard of EMIS? Just so I know what my starting point is. A couple of people at the back, but nobody else. Okay. So EMIS today, we're a publicly listed company. We're listed on the AIM exchange, but we were founded in 1987 by a couple of GPs who were really trying to drive the use of technology to better engage with their patients. We are a very clinically focused business as a software business, and we really do offer solutions that are created by clinicians for clinicians. We currently now today have about 80 practicing clinicians on our payroll who are really there to make sure that everything we do is clinically relevant and clinically safe. So that very much still remains a huge thread of our business. And we have a very broad presence in the UK, supporting about 10,000 organisations across just about every healthcare setting in the UK market. That's kind of illustrated here in the sense of we're number one or number two in just about every setting that we operate in. Patient access there is our patient-facing app, so that's used directly by the patient for booking appointments and a variety of different things, over time increasing the capability that we have in that space, moving into remote consultations, video consultations, those kinds of things. And we have 8 million registered users on that app, which makes it the largest in the UK by quite some margin, actually, and that's growing by about 50,000 every month. In the GP space, we represent about 60% of the GPs in the UK use our system. So that's, again, makes us number one in that marketplace. And I'm just picking out a couple of these here in the community pharmacy space as well. So once you've made your appointment through patient access, been to see the GP and had your consultation, you'll walk down the road to the community pharmacist to get your medication. And about 40% of those will be using our system as well. So we're quite unique in this respect, in that nobody else in the UK has that spectrum, has that breadth of coverage across all of these different markets. I don't think there's a single other competitor who operates across all of these, and certainly nobody that can boast such a dominant market share. So that really gives us a huge cross-sectional view of the patient journey and of the patient life cycle, which is particularly important from the perspective of our partner program, because it allows us to provide access to our partners to a huge marketplace that's of interest. Just some sort of fast facts here, really. I'll just pick out one of these. We are very much a volume player. So last year, 650 million prescription items went through our systems, and for every single one of those, there are 76,000 checks to make sure that everything is right. It will look at other medication that the patient is on, and advise the clinician to make sure that we're doing all of the right things. I mean, there's a number of stats up there that you can kind of look your way through, but essentially we are operating at a huge scale, as well as a particularly broad, very broad basis as well. And in terms of our purpose, it really hasn't changed since 1987, really. We are still very focused on enabling better patient care through the use of technology. And I suppose what is beginning to become more prevalent is, whilst we operate across the very broad spectrum of the marketplace, historically that is quite siloed. And the drive towards integrated care, we feel we're uniquely positioned to help that. And really that's where our partner program comes in. So what do we do in Partners? Effectively, we are there to support interoperability and the integration of care. So we have the largest program again in the UK of any clinical system provider. We're about twice the size in terms of the number of partners that we work with our nearest competitor. So we consider ourselves to be very open, and we're seeking to drive that at a much more aggressive rate as we go forward. We effectively really do three things. So we help promote partners. A lot of the partners that we work with are smaller startup organisations who are looking to penetrate the market. So we provide promotion of their brand, presence on our website, enable them to use the EMIS brand to promote their products. And we obviously provide them support to do that as well. We allow technical integration with our systems, and that can range from being able to access the electronic medical record to being able to present their product in the GP system itself. So, every day, every GP is looking at that screen, looking at that system, 8-10 hours a day, probably more than that. So the ability to embed those products within that system and give access to that marketplace is something that we offer. Quite a range, to be honest, of integration technologies to enable partner products to interoperate and to work with our systems. And increasingly, we're getting involved in helping promote and sell partner products as well on a selective basis. So we have a national sales force, as well as a huge market presence. We have a team of people, feet on the street every day, out talking to the customers that our partners want to access. So increasingly, we're looking to help our partners to actually sell their products into that marketplace as well. Quick snapshot, I mentioned we're the largest. We're pushing 150 partners now, certainly well over 125, and that's larger than any other player in this space. And we're looking to drive that at a much more aggressive rate to really support the interoperability and open API agenda. So what's new? We've spent quite a lot of time over the last 6 to 9 months really trying to drive the ease with which this integration can actually be done. Historically, it's quite a clunky process. It's quite time consuming. It's quite manual. It's quite human orientated. We've been spending time simplifying that really to try and automate the process such that we can do it much more easily from the point of view of our partners, but also do it at a much higher rate. So we've recently launched an online process, an online portal to do this. It's very much self-service. You simply turn up at the website, create an account for yourself. All of the information that you need is available and clear in terms of what the steps are. You can track your progress, as you go through. And it's early indications are that it's hugely streamlining the process down from a number of months to get through our accreditation process to certainly a matter of weeks. So that's going to enable us to hugely accelerate the number of partners that we can work with, which is obviously good for our partners, it's good for us, and it's good for interoperability in the healthcare system as well. So, I mean, that's the main point really in terms of what we're trying to do. That requires an element of standardisation. That all underpins this. And I think we'll probably be pushing more than 250 partners by this time next year, which will double our capacity. So, we're very keen to make sure that we continue to support that agenda as it becomes increasingly important to the UK health economy. I just wanted to give Alex a couple of minutes. How long have we got? 3.5. Perfect. I wanted to give Alex 3.5 minutes just to talk about what Dovetail is doing.
So Dovetail joined EMIS Group about a year ago today through acquisition. And the way we link with the partner program is that the Dovetail API is one of the new partner products. So once you've become an accredited partner, one of the possible reasons for becoming an accredited partner with EMIS might be that you either want to pull data from the electronic health record, or you might want to push data into the electronic health record. And what Dovetail does is manage the consent process for that. So in order to do that, you need both the permission of the GP and also the consent of the individual patient. So essentially, we have some middleware software which anybody, whether they're a digital health app or any kind of consumer or patient-facing application, can verify someone's identity. They can check that you are who you say you are, and then they can ask you if you're happy to share certain information between certain parties for certain reasons. So that usually is from the GP record. I'm happy to share information about my type 2 diabetes with an organisation that's providing me structured diabetes education courses, is one example. So that's kind of being used now for digital health, for pharma, for insurance use cases, and private healthcare. So it's just one of the one of the potential APIs that we can offer. The fancy diagram is really, we do use distributed ledger technology because once we've sent the data, we use blockchain to actually just audit the health information that's transferred, so everybody has full visibility of who accesses what data when.